Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and our guest today is Joshua Brazzle. He's an astrophotographer and a bit of an astronomer from our very own Tinian, and he's here to talk to us about the Marianas night sky. Joshua, welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for joining us via Zoom for our chat today. For those that may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in Tinian?
So my name is Joshua Brazzle. I was born and raised in Washington. I lived there for almost my whole life since I was 30, and then I moved here to start a new life, and that's how I ended up here. So I'm here now.
Maybe you could start us off with explaining what exactly is astrophotography.
So astrophotography is another type of photography where taking photos of space and then using a telescope and bringing them down back in an image for everybody to share it and see. That's the best way to say it. Yeah.
And how did you get interested in this field?
Actually, I started getting interested in this field back in when COVID started back in 2020. I didn't know that this hobby actually existed, and then I think I fell into it doing some YouTube searching and during the lockdown. That's how I got into it because there's nothing to do that time. So I got into this hobby and started from there. Yeah.
What is it about astrophotography that you personally find appealing? I mean, there's a lot of hobby. You could have taken up crocheting during lockdown.
I think for me, it's just the best way I put it is, well, yeah, we don't all have a chance to go to space, and so it's a way to go to space and another way to to see space without going out there, So that's the way. It's like, I guess it's the way to escape and bring space back down and back home and sharing with others.
Now, of course, being out here in the middle of the Pacific with not a lot of development around us makes the islands a really nice place to stop and look up at the night sky. What makes the Marianas unique, being at 15 degrees north latitude in the world?
Right. For me, it's I noticed there's a lot of celestial objects here that you can't see in up in towards the north of United States. There's a lot of for example, you can see the core of the Milky Way better here, and also the south part of the Milky Way. So it's more visible to us here, and there's other objects that we can see that the other state of U.S. can't see.
Can we talk a little bit more about the Milky Way? Because for some reason, I don't know, when I first heard that we could see the Milky Way, I was like, how does that work? We are in the galaxy of the Milky Way. How can we see ourselves? Can you give us a little bit more detail?
We're, obviously we're in the Milky Way. So, but you can see it. So it looks like a, how can I say it? It's like a faint cloud. It's like a faint cloud kind of streaking across the sky. Kind of orange, greenish color. It's easily that you can see it in a dark area. It's going to a dark place. Look up towards the eastern side, facing the east. About around 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll see the core. It should be pretty visible. The best way to identify it, if you can, if you don't have understanding what it looks like, just Google it, and then and that way you get a perspective of what it looks like, and that way you can identify it easily. Because even before, I couldn't really tell what it was until I had to look it up, because you can mistake it as a cloud, but once you see it, yeah. And
okay.
Yeah, so that's the best way to do it.
Okay, so is it directly due east from where we are, or is it generally a little bit more north of east or a little bit south of east, or does it
Yeah.
vary?
Oh, okay. I guess you could say southeast. Yes, correct. Because it rises at this time. Because right now it's a little bit early of the Milky Way not to show up towards like the 10 o'clock card. Usually 10 o'clock where everybody's awake.
Mhm.
So the best time to see it is like around like 3, where the core is like right towards like I guess you could say 30 degrees southeast. Yeah, there you go. So that's
Okay, cool.
that's yeah.
And of course, Tinian has fewer artificial lights than Saipan, but could you
Right.
give us an idea of where might be, like, if you were in Garapan,
Right.
would you be able to see it at 3 o'clock in the morning, or would you have to
So
go?
actually, you know what? I was up in what's that place? The surf club. We're staying at Surfrider time. Me and my wife. I think it was like last year. Surfrider, and then I actually took the time to go to the beach in front of the beach where towards Surfrider's at, right across Surf Club. And you actually could see the Milky Way, and it was pretty heavy light polluted, but you could still see it a little bit.
Okay,
but
so that's
not
the
as-
west coast of Saipan. You could still see it over the east
Right,
horizon.
correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
cool.
pretty high up in the horizon, but you still could see it, but very faint. Like I said, you have to know what it looks like to notice it.
So us being a part of the Milky Way is that, and that's the part that was freaking me out, was like, okay, we are in the Milky Way, but we can
Right.
see the Milky Way. Is that because like we're on one side of the Milky Way and we can see the center of the Milky Way? Is that what
So-
you're describing here?
So the best way to say it is like you're looking at the core of the Milky Way, because we're in the, I guess, the side of it, I guess you can say. Think of like a disc, right? And then we're like kind of right on the side of it,
Okay.
and then you're looking kind of like at the core of the Milky Way.
Back. Oh,
Right, back.
Okay.
You're right.
Well, that's pretty cool, and that's something very identifiable that people might be able to spot easily. As you said, it looks like a cloud. A little bit later on, maybe we can talk more about the sky specifically. But is there any specific training or equipment needed for astrophotography?
No, actually, like how I actually started it before I got my telescope. I actually started with my cell phone, and because if you have like the basic good standard iPhone 11 or like Android, there's a trick where you can take a shot of like the stars or Milky Way by doing a long exposure. So you're taking a longer shot, like I think about 30 seconds is the minimum, and that's how you bring in more light to get that image. Have that that effect.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so what kind of equipment have you graduated to now?
So right now I have I started from a Power Seeker 127, which was like a like $150 telescope, which was it wasn't too good, but it did the job. And then I worked my way up to an 8-inch telescope, which is it's a big one. For the retail price, I think it was like $1,200. I got it for a cheap price for $350 from a friend from the States, so he shipped it over here. Yeah, that the one I have right now, it's right like in an intermediate spot, I guess you could say.
What do you think, having just gotten into this hobby yourself a couple years ago, what do you think is the reason for our fascination as humans with heavens and the heavenly bodies and what's up there? Why are we so fascinated with it?
I really think the reason why is where we're so fascinated with this is because it's to discover the unknown, and it's like trying to find out the reason why, how we got here, and how this is like all created, and trying to find out, is there other life out there than just us? I think that's what keeps drawing us back, and trying to find out what's out there, because space is like it's just it's endless. There's no end to space. So we're so drawn to find out what the truth and how we got here. I think that's what keeps us trying to find out. It's always like thinking and questioning the reason for our existence and our purpose here, and there's life out there. So I think that's why.
Okay, so bringing it to a more personal perspective, in your 2 years now,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on how we got here and if there's other life out there?
For me, I think my perspective is I'm not gonna say I do believe there's life out there, but I'm not gonna say no or yes. It's a question mark for me. For me. So
I think
it's
it's a question mark for everybody at this
right,
point.
it kind of it pauses me a lot thinking about it to myself too also. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big question mark, I guess you can say.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's not exactly known, but to me, looking at all the stars and all the planets that are out there, I'm leaning more
Right.
towards there's other life out there, if not intelligent life. That's what I'm
Right,
feeling.
right.
To be proven, yet
That
to be proven.
right, right. We're still trying to find out to this day. So yeah, I do, and I just could say that I do believe there is, there's other life out there yet to be proven, like you just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what are some of the coolest things you've had the opportunity to photograph or to observe in the time that you've been doing this?
It was M64, a galaxy called the Black Eye Galaxy. I just captured that just a couple of weeks or a couple days ago. Yeah, that was the most interesting one because that was actually my best shot because it came out actually more clear than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, so that was actually my interesting one because it has a distinct look when you see the image. If I know if you haven't saw it yet.
What strikes you about the
So,
appearance of this galaxy, the Black Eye galaxy, you said?
yes, black eye. So it kind of looks like of if you look at kind of like a cat's eye, it kind of looks just like that. That's if you just yeah, just the best way to explain it if I without
Yeah.
seeing the image. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like your mind is just blown when you look at these different galaxies or heavenly phenomena with the beauty of it? Or I don't know if you're able to see that closely with the current equipment you have, but are there ever moments where it just kind of takes your breath away or
Oh,
something like
definitely.
that?
It does. It's so the scope I have right now, it's you can actually see galaxies in the view of the eyepiece, and it kind of looks like the best way to explain it. It looks like a fuzzy, like faint snowball, but you can kind of see like a little dim core, and then like a little fuzzy like static around it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it really does blow my mind because I've seen quite a handful of galaxies out there, and you can see some bright ones and some faint ones, but it really does blow my mind a lot, and I get pretty excited sometimes when I capture a new object. So I think that's how I push myself to stay later at night and lose more sleep. And yeah, it's really a sleep stealer too. So, but it pays off in the end.
Well, we're chatting today with astrophotographer and astronomer Joshua Brazzle, and we'll be back with more after this break.
Did you know that you can donate up to $5,000 to the Humanities Council through the CNMI Education Tax Credit Program? Donations from individuals and corporations qualify and can be used to offset your local wage and salary tax, BGRT, and earnings tax. Call our office at 235-4785 to see how you can support humanities programs in our community and obtain a tax credit for your donation. Sizuus Maasi, Olomai, and thank you.
I Northern Marianas Humanities Council bula guinahanya puri historian Marianas dan kultura. Sinyon soda esisihanan formasyon gi zon mami website nmhcouncil.org pat bisita gi YouTube pat Facebook. Guahalokwe diferentes klasen leblo na sinya un fan. I Northern Marianas Humanities Council has uzura todo I experiencian tautau.
Welcome back to Your Humanities Half Hour. We're talking about the Marianas night sky. Joshua, you mentioned that there were, aside from the Milky Way, there's some other objects that are ideal to see from the Marianas. What's up there?
So for the next I'm gonna say event for this March season is for people who have like who are astrophotographers out there and the cinema. It's galaxy season right now, so this is the beginning of the galaxy season where all the galaxy starts to show up and towards the view where we can capture this time. So this is the best time to start taking pictures of the galaxies right now, which I'm doing right now. So I'm actually focusing on taking pictures of galaxies right now. That's my goal right now.
And why is this an ideal to take time of pictures of galaxies here where we're at?
So so galaxies are very dim, like they're very dim. This is actually, like I said, Tinian and maybe probably some part of Saipan and especially Rhoda. Like Rhoda is, I know they have less light pollution. This is the best place to take pictures of galaxies because low light pollution, and this is the best place for astrophotography. Especially the sky is lit up with you can actually see the heavens up in the sky.
Galaxy season, is it for a certain amount of time during the year where it's better to see the galaxy?
Yeah, so March is pretty much the beginning of galaxy season, and I think the end of March. I think July is the ending. So I think from March to June or July, if I'm correct. And then the peak season will be like April.
Okay, so you were talking about it being the islands being a really good place to potentially set up an observatory because we don't have a lot of light pollution around here. Are there any other factors you feel that make this an ideal place for an observatory?
So my actually plan was if it happens, we can use it for research, not also for doing a work research here for work in the observatory, but also use it for the students to take to do their student projects research in there if they have like astronomy class, and also have it open for tourists to come in and make it like almost like a place they can come in, and see and have a test from themselves to try it out themselves and make it generate money, and that way you can put that money towards student funding. That was actually my plan. So if it generates money, put up a certain percentage to put it towards student funding for their supplies and stuff they need and etc. And I think that would be good if it ever does happen. Yeah.
My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that also like a height or not latitude, but yeah, latitude above sea level also.
Right.
Isn't that sometimes a consideration? And how do we fit into that criteria?
I think Tinian has some good spots for what I'm seeing. I'm not gonna say any other place yet, but I already eyeballed a few spots, I guess you could say. What
qualities make like some spots stand out as better than others for you?
I guess we have a lot of mountains and hills, or a mountain, so we have a higher peak of where we can place the observatory because it's more closer to I guess take a image of the sky without any like distortion or anything in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it because we have a lot of high elevation. There you go. Yeah.
Elevation, that's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to think it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
So for the novice, uninitiated stargazer, or people like me who just look up and go, wow, there's Orion's belt. Like,
right.
But for people who might want to take it a step further, what advice can you give about when might be the best time to stargaze, where on Tinian or Saipan, or if you could even recommend Rhoda, might be a best location on island to go and stargaze, and how to do it for somebody who wants to have a 2 or 3 hour adventure of stargazing? How can we optimize that experience?
The best way to put it is to find like a dark location that of in there, and Saipan and Rhoda and Tinian. Take your camera phone, tripod, and find a dark place and make sure it's the best time, probably dry season, where it's not too, where there's hardly any rain and too much salt spray in the air and not too windy also. So just find a tripod and a cell phone and look up YouTube how to take long exposure with your cell phone, and that will get you going from right there. And just point your camera up, and that's the best way to do it. And just download Stargazing app too, and that's how I usually started back before I had a telescope and started my phone. That's the best way to do it.
Is that kind of like a star map?
Yes. There's actually two I use, which is called Night Sky and then Stellarium.
Stellarium.
Yes, correct. Stellarium is the popular one. So that one moves towards the latitude or the north, east, southwest, whatever you point your phone, and then it will show you the objects in the sky where it's located. So you can type, for example, Orion Nebula on top, and it'll point an arrow directly towards that object, and then you just slew your phone that direction.
Okay, so whether any of our listeners are interested in actually, as you said, taking their phone and taking some pictures of maybe the Milky Way, or whether they're just interested in knowing like what's coming up or what's up there, there are some events, special events that you wanted to share with us to look out for, right?
So I think this coming May, there's a lunar eclipse, I think from the 15th to the 16th, full lunar eclipse. So that's gonna partaking that day. I think it's not gonna start until like around, I'll see, like 7 o'clock, so 6 or 7.
Okay, so that's May, the night of May 15th around 7 p.m.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Full lunar eclipse, not partial, but a full lunar eclipse.
Full lunar eclipse, right. Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Being there in Tinian, have you learned anything from the Chamorro culture about related to the moon or the heavenly bodies? Like, has anybody shared any stories with you or anything like that?
So I thought I was told like not to bring your baby out during a lunar eclipse, or if your wife is pregnant and you can't take her outside during a lunar eclipse, you have to stay in the house. That's how I was told.
Well, I really want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us and kind of opening up this whole new world to us that's up there. For anybody who might be interested in chatting with you more, could you share your contacts with us?
So my Facebook page is Tinian Astro Dad. That is, Tinian chorus, and then Astro, DAD Dad. And you can find me on Facebook also. And then I have Instagram, Joshua Brazzle. So
Brazzle.
Yes, correct. And then for my email, it's Brazzle Josh 359 @gmail.com.
Any final thoughts before we go?
All I gotta say is just keep looking up and look for clear skies, because I think there's more out there what they that they offer down here, from my experience. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I guess you could say, and perspective is God is an artist himself. From my experience of doing this hobby, because there's so much out there. I didn't realize there's so much out there doing this hobby in this time doing astrophotography. And it really brought me, I guess you could say, I always put it this way, it brought me peace in my heart, because it's not just down here. There's so much going on, there's COVID and what's going on right now. So doing this hobby has brought me peace and got me at my full attention. So every day I'm gonna say every day, but probably once or twice a week, I'm always out there, look up in the skies and taking pictures. Yeah. So that's why it keeps pulling me back every day. Yeah. So that's the best way to put it. Just keep looking up. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing today.
You're welcome.
Again, our guest today has been Joshua Brazzle. He's an astrophotographer and an astronomer living on Tinian, talking about the Marianas night sky. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.